wondering what you got for me. Egyptian cotton is out to be my lady only. I'm wondering what you got for me. Egyptian cotton is out to be my lady only.
What's up, Infobon? It's Freddy. A big heartfelt Dziękuję bardzo to our tens of viewers that have launched us into the top 10 YouTube sports card investing shows. Hosted by a Polish-American girl dad. Today, like every modern sports card channel the past few weeks, we're going to discuss Fernando Tatis's PED suspension. Shall we examine if Fernando will go to zero and PED's current state in professional sports? Yes, we shall. Fans of the channel, hi Mom and Dad, know just how much I love watching Fernando Tatis Jr. play baseball, even though I'm a diehard Dodgers fan. So you can guess my disappointment when I heard the news, both as a baseball fan and Tatis baseball card investor. From a monetary perspective, I'm fortunate to purchase most of my Tatis cardboard after his 2019 back injury and during this latest dip for his wrist surgery recovery. But nobody likes seeing the value of their cards take a sizable plunge overnight. Everyone, including me, wants to DJ Khaled their sports card investments.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
Unfortunately, we can't win them all, and we can't please them all either. Speaking of not being able to please everybody, I feel like I should warn viewers who are baseball fans over the age of 55 or identify as baseball traditionalists. You may want to shut off this video because there is a very high probability,
Uncomfortably high,
you won't enjoy my take on PEDs, professional sports, or Fernando Tatis Jr. Not because it's wrong, but because it's uncomfortable. True, but uncomfortable nonetheless. And most definitely a nuclear button topic.
do not press the button.
Did Fernando take a Dominican topical cream to treat ringworm that he didn't know contained clostebol, like his mother showed on Instagram?
I don't know.
Or did he take clostebol to speed up his slower than expected recovery to get back to his team for the playoffs?
I don't know.
But that's okay, because it just doesn't.
Matter? It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I tell you, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
I hear you rage commenting in the comments about cheating and unlevel playing fields. But I have news for you. And it's old news. Players, especially baseball players, have been taking performance-enhancing drugs en masse since the U.S. government gave World War II soldiers greenies, or amphetamines, for heightened concentration and increased stamina. And they brought greenies back to our hallowed game
Well, maybe I don't look the part.
in its glory years of the 50s and 60s.
Dancing drug, but you had guys like Mickey Mantle and Whitey Ford and Billy Martin partying all night at the Copacabana. They have to make a 1 p.m. game, maybe even a doubleheader. They're doing greenies. They're doing amphetamines. It's always been a part of baseball, is finding that edge.
You didn't think a raging alcoholic and womanizer like Mickey Mantle could magically put up Hall of Fame numbers staying up into the wee hours of the morning before games without a little help, did you?
Really?
Come on. It's true. You know the Yankees and Mickey would have loved to file a defamation suit against Jim Bouton, Mickey's teammate and the author of Ball 4. But before it's time, players account on what really went on in the Major League clubhouse in the 60s. If it wasn't true. But they didn't. They tried to bury the book, but that obviously didn't work. Listen, If the Yankees and Mickey's family weren't hurt by his drinking and womanizing, and his many lady partners were all consensual, I got nothing against Mickey Mantle. Live your life if you're not destroying others. But all the talking heads, collectors, and investors pontificating if Fernando Tatis Jr.'s cards will go to zero because of a positive steroid test to allegedly quicken his recovery from injury need a reality check and a history lesson.
Zorro snap in Z formation.
If we're using the same criteria for Fernando and Mickey Mantle, all those 1952 Topps Mantle collectors should start getting real nervous about now. Especially those currently bidding on the SGC 9.5 on the Heritage auction site, which is already close to $8 million with the buyer's premium.
A mint-condition rookie baseball card featuring Oklahoma native Mickey Mantle sold, forget this, $12.6 million. That's the most money ever paid for a piece of sports memorabilia.
I know. It won't happen. Mantle collectors will refuse to believe Mickey took amphetamines for the potential financial hit.
It's not true. That's impossible.
It doesn't make his PED usage untrue. MLB didn't ban or start testing for steroids until 2004, and amphetamines weren't banned until 2006 when Oakland A's third baseman Eric Chavez had this to say, and I quote, "Anybody who thinks you can go through the season normally and your body can just respond normally after what we go through is unreasonable. I'm not saying taking away greenies isn't a good thing, but guys are definitely going to look for something as a replacement." End quote. He was right. Amphetamines are still a problem in MLB. They're just called Adderall now. And the current Adderall punishment? There might be discipline if you don't follow a treatment plan after a failed test. From MLB's and MLB-PA's joint drug agreement for the 2020 season, the key changes to the program's treatment drugs of abuse, which will be effective beginning in 2020 spring training, are as follows. All samples collected under the program will now be tested for the presence of opiates, fentanyl, cocaine, and synthetic THC, among other drugs of abuse. Any player who tests positive for one of these drugs of abuse will be referred to the party's joint treatment board. This board will be composed of medical professionals specializing in substance abuse and representatives from the Office of the Commissioner and the Players Association for an initial evaluation. And this is the telling part. If appropriate, formulation of a personalized treatment plan for that player going forward. So only players who fail to cooperate with their initial evaluation or prescribed treatment plan may be subject to discipline. So the only way you get suspended is if you fail the test, they actually decide you need a treatment plan, and you don't go through the treatment plan. Such rigid enforcement and penalties. However, could an MLB player get away with taking Adderall?
I don't know.
Oh, they could just tell their doc they're having trouble concentrating and get a therapeutic use exemption.
God damn it, I don't know what it is about your face, but I want to deliver one of these right in your suck hole.
I hear you. But Freddie, college kids take Adderall all the time to cram for tests. It can't be that bad. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm saying it's amphetamines and it gives players an edge. It provides athletes with energy and focus that they normally wouldn't have. Some might say it enhances their performance.
What?
And it's hard to detect, since it clears the system within 8 hours, which means it presents an unlevel playing field that MLB can't properly fix under the current system. If they even want to fix it.
They don't.
Listen, I'm not the moral police. I'm not for or against PEDs. I understand why athletes take them. I understand, if put in a similar situation, why I may have taken them. It'd be easy to sit here as a plus-sized guy in his mid-40s with less than a 0% chance of a professional athletic career to vehemently protest against PEDs, but it'd be disingenuous. I'm not going to crucify professional athletes for doing what a large number of professional athletes have been doing since ancient Greek Olympians ingested raw animal testicles.
It's true.
Which is to try and gain a competitive advantage. Vilifying the minority of PED users popped so the leagues can promote their businesses to children as PED-free seems misguided and overly simplified. If we can't regulate all PEDs out of professional sports in a truly meaningful way, which we can't unless we want to test every athlete, every day, multiple times without warning to them, their team, or refs.
Unless you know in anti-doping what you're looking for, you can't find it. For whatever drug is out there, there has to be a specific test that recognizes that drug. So what these chemists are doing is taking a steroid, a known steroid, and adding an extra atom, molecule, whatever on it, and it still retains the benefits of the steroid, but it won't show up on a traditional test unless the science finds out about it and creates a test for it. So it's a constant cat and mouse game.
And we truly want a level playing field, the only answer is to allow PEDs under the guidance of a player's independent doctor to make what most are already taking the safest it can be for all athletes who take them.
I believe that at a minimum, 20% of the 40-man roster players are using performance-enhancing substances. And I mean, that's a conservative number from the information I gathered over the years.
Eddie Dominguez should know. For 6 years, catching the dopers was part of his job with MLB's investigation unit.
So that would mean that there should be 100 ball players that test positive, and they don't.
More than 8,000 tests were done last season. Only 10 resulted in players being disciplined.
Speaking to sources that were chemists, the chemists always say that it's a cat and mouse game. As long as they know what the testing procedure is, they'll always be able to beat it.
Just taking PEDs doesn't transform an ordinary athlete into Michael Jordan. It heightens ability, gives a career more longevity, helps athletes recover both from injury and performance, but it doesn't diminish an athlete's greatness. Fernando Tatis is 23. He's a kid. He made a dumb mistake going too fast on his motorcycle and broke his wrist. Then he made another dumb mistake, either taking a Dominican topical medication that contained a banned substance, or knowingly taking a PED to recover from wrist surgery after recovery went slower than expected. But this selfish storyline being pushed by traditional and new media is total bullshit. People point to the Manny Machado incident from last year. Full context, Fernando Tatis disagreed with a called third strike. He was about to get tossed before his manager stepped in and got tossed instead, angering Manny. Manny Machado, he of 8 such objections in his career.
Someone's got to get Manny away from him. It's a big at bat.
Bill Miller, the crew chief, coming down, trying to finish this off. Swing and a miss, and Machado strikes out. Padres will leave him loaded for the 3rd time in the game, and Manny is going to say some more stuff to Doug Eddings. It's 4-3 Phillies.
He of the incident where he intentionally released his bat.
It's been a rough series in that regard. Took it that did not look good.
He who also stepped on the first baseman's foot on purpose.
Machado just kind of lets that left leg bang into the right leg of Aguilar.
And he who doesn't hustle in the playoffs.
Here's one left side, deep in the hole. Arcia, long throw, and Machado's not running.
I'm not the type of player that's going to be Johnny Hustle and run down the line and slide to first base. That's just not my personality. That's not my cup of tea. That's not who I am.
We're going to trust this guy's opinion on leadership.
No, 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 no. Hell no, no, no. I refuse, no.
Tatis wanted to get back to his team for the stretch run in playoffs. He already got a $340 million bag, so this wasn't a selfish move to inflate stats to sign a massive contract. With baseball's guaranteed contracts and the shoulder issue from last season, in which he changed his stroke mid-season and still hit 48 home runs, it would have been in Fernando's best interest to get 100% healthy for next season while receiving his full salary. But he didn't.
You're goddamn right.
Aforementioned PED chemists' ability to stay ahead of PED testing.
The protocol that they're given, if they follow it, they'll never get caught.
For athletes of means, makes the ringworm medical excuse actually seem sort of plausible.
Maybe. Probably not, but maybe.
If you have a $340 million contract and need a little something to get back quicker, wouldn't you spend the money to find the best sports scientist, probably of Russian descent,
Yes.
at evading these PED tests? I would. But it doesn't matter if he took it on purpose or not.
If somebody told me I could take a shot in my ass, hit 50, 60 home runs and make $17, $20 million a year, I'm not going to get on here and be a hypocrite. I'm going to do it.
There's going to be a line.
Yes.
There'll be a line.
It's so easy for people who got money and who want to play like they don't ever make mistakes. If I grew up poor in Alabama, somebody say, here's a shot, and you can make $20 million for the next 10 to 15 years. That's just I'll be there tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock.
Without the steroid era, Major League Baseball would be regulated to the Ocho in 2022.
That one for Spider-Man Omer. First throw is 36.
That's a nice first start. Very nice.
36. Now they have to get, there's an amateur and a pro level, and these are all pro throwers. You have to be able to show that you can skip at least 25 to get into the pros from the amateurs. There's Omer's second toss.
There's also a difference, Jim, in the registration fees. The amateurs are $1, while the pros pay $10.
Whole dollars.
$10, yeah. This is a rich man's game.
Football's HGH testing is an absolute joke.
The NFL wanted to test for it, and they said the only way you could test for it is if you take blood. So the NFLPA then had to okay and agree to random blood tests happening throughout the entire year, just like there is random piss tests throughout the entire year for performance-enhancing drugs. Then that led to the conversation, well, what's the baseline for every human's growth hormone? So if you take, let's say, James Harrison's blood, are you comparing it to Ty Schmidt's human growth hormone, his natural hormone? How do you know what the baseline's going to be? And they fought on that for like months and months and months and months and months. The testing for the HGH got delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. And then they finally just agreed to start doing the drug test or the blood testing. And I still don't think anybody has ever failed it, because I'm not sure they ever put a baseline out there. I think the agreement was, hey, we have to fucking like at least say we're testing for it, even though nobody's ever going to fail it because there's no natural baseline for what every human has, because some might have more than other humans have. It's like, oh, so HGH is like the best drug of all time. So even if they try to test for it, they can't. It's like, holy shit, what is this thing? I think that is really the last hilarious bargain between the NFL and the NFLPA about performance enhancing. It was like, how do we keep HGH out of here? And then they were like, every doctor was like, you can't. It's impossible. God, we just got to test for it. Well, how do you know what the baseline was before Did you test for his HGH whenever he was a child, and then as a teenager, then when he was a late teen, then whenever he was have you done that through his entire life? We don't know, because his growth hormone could have just shot up more than anybody else. Oh, so everybody can take it while we're still testing them for it? Yeah, but we can still say we're tested for it, right? Well, you are, kind of.
Yeah, we're
all right, cool. Yeah,
all
we're
right,
covered.
perfect.
So that's, I think, the whole PED process is wild, because there has to be a baseline.
Not to mention, they give out the painkiller Toradol, like Pez candy before games, so guys can't feel the pain of the injuries they probably shouldn't be playing on in the first place. That's the ultimate performance enhancer to me.
Some of these guys I looked up to my whole life as a young player, doing everything clean. Coming into the league, now guys I'm being taken by a veteran into the training room to get a shot of Toradol before the game. Because that's just the way it's done. Yeah. Come get this shot, you'll feel like $1 million.
100%.
You'll feel like you can run through a wall.
And the NBA is rumored to allow up to 200 milligrams of testosterone for injury recovery.
I know someone who's a professional basketball player, and I asked him about steroids, and he said, well, if you get injured, you can take up to 200 mgs a week, which is considered a TRT dose. But that's actually a pretty big dose.
So these guys are taking 2?
No, they're taking one of those a week is what they're allowed to take.
Huge.
Right, because
we're all adults here, mostly. Even if we do dabble in a kid's hobby. Just because you don't want things to be true doesn't mean they aren't. Whether you choose to believe it or not, the truth is many professional athletes take PEDs and will continue to do so.
And you know this, man!
Let's stop the holier-than-thou PED reactions and sham arbitrary league testing, and legit have a level playing field by legalizing safe administration and dosage of PEDs. Before you start complaining, these are not the Lyle Alzado PEDs of the 80s.
You know the way you see somebody who's really angry, and that anger goes to the point where it's out of control. He's not able to control that anger.
And this won't make more kids want to take PEDs to make it to the big leagues. Not any more than the thousands of parents that brought their teen sons to see Tony Bosch between 2008 and 2012. It's already happening. It's better to be open and transparent about it rather than living in denial.
Living in denial? Yeah. I'm aware of that.
One thing nobody with sufficient brain cells can deny is that Fernando Tatis Jr. is one of the best baseball players on the planet. And when he returns, hopefully in May, I'll tune in to watch. And so will most of you, whether you love him or you hate him. Because he is
the most electrifying man in all of entertainment.
And if Fernando comes back and puts up Hall of Fame numbers, you won't have to worry about his card values. PEDs will go the way of marijuana and stop being demonized in the next 10 to 15 years. We as fans want to watch real-life superheroes. It seems like some of you just need a little more time to accept what it really takes to be superhuman. As always, I'm Freddie, and you're welcome.